Welcome to another episode of Dice Scum Live, and today we're going to take a look at an art book. I know, it's a little weird. I was told this was supposed to be an RPG book, but that's not what we got.
Come on. It meets the legal definition of a game, all right? The dice is involved somehow, some way, somewhere.
Wait, it is? Let me double check. Oh God, it actually does have dice rolls. Oh no. Oh no.
You see, this whole fucking episode is going to be Biggie versus Adam. I can feel it in my fucking bones.
Yep.
This is Imsit, and the RPG we are reviewing today is Mork Borg.
Or as I like to call it, a modern art scam piece. Or sub-chalt, because I think this is worse than chalt.
I remember seeing the original fucking Kickstarter for it back in the day. Actually, I cannot even remember when the hell that was. All I just remember seeing was it made like a ridiculous amount of money. I seem to recall, or I'm misremembering.
Wait.
Horribly.
Oh, please tell me this thing made a ridiculous amount of money. I need to know, because with a cover like this, I can feel the value. I swear I can actually outdraw this. Holy shit.
I like.
You want to know the number?
I like both. Yes, sir.
489,252 SEK. So Swedish Croner.
Okay, so I think you're supposed to divide that by about like 10. I don't know what kroners are, but they're Swedish money is weird, and then I think it's notably less than $1.
Quick, people in the comments, tell us how to read this communist money.
Yeah, I'll be blunt. I have no circumstances or understanding of what that is. I will say, since there's other books to this, technically, kind of, sort of, it does at least give its money's worth. Kind of. We'll get into it.
As a guy that regularly browses, I was just about to say, as a guy that regularly browses Kickstarters for tabletop games and other nerd shit, it feels like almost every time I go on there, there's a Mork Borg spin-off product made by some other person, made a minute, it feels like, practically.
Oh,
they always seem to keep getting funded, too.
Oh, thank God the tariff scare actually destroyed a lot of these fair weather scammers. Because this isn't an RPG.
Adam, why are you being so negative about this? This is giving people the opportunity to create their dreams and visions. How could you be so negative?
Well, let's see. Let's open it up with the random tables that are right here for no reason. Thank you.
I believe this is because this is supposed to be like I think like an insert. Because again, this was made originally for a physical copy.
Okay. It's just one of the weirdest things to open with.
It's so you know where to look for it, so you're not digging around constantly. Cool. It's actually ingenious if you think about it.
Oh, I love when you plunder a corpse, you have a great chance to just get fuck all. Love 11 to 16 just giving you trash.
Now, you see, Adam, this is a grim, dark setting. It's very bleak. It's very depressing. And if you look at somebody the wrong way, you're going to get a beer bottle shoved into your eye, most likely. That gritty realism, that we all like. It's like Dark Souls, but even more edgy.
Oh, about $50,000? Yeah, I could believe this being made for $50,000. Okay. That's a little more reasonable.
I could have sworn it was in the million range. I could be wrong.
Well, I mean, it's half a million Swedish Croner.
That's not real money.
It isn't. All I do know is that the items you can get from this corpse plundering table that is just right there. Because organization, what's that? We don't need that where we're fucking going. It just doesn't really give you much. It actually forces you as the GM to make things up, because a lot of this is just barely a thing.
And?
What, you mean you don't know for what the stats are for a golden ball with an invisible seam?
That'd be lovely to know. I'd also like to know what a knuckle duster's damage value is. Doesn't even reference what page it is.
Oh, I'm sure we'll find it eventually.
Probably.
It's an adventure, Adam. We have to go and we have to admire the art as we keep turning the pages too.
And
see, it's more of an experience than an actual game. You see, we're here for the vibes, Adam. You're here for the vibes.
You know you're fucked when I think Chalt's better organized than this. Oh, it's Latvian. That explains why. For those wondering, Latvia is stuck between a rock and a hard place, aka Estonia and Lithuania. It just kind of exists. That kind of explains things, I think.
it has potatoes.
So what you're saying is, Adam, you would rather see the Baltics, be conquered by Russia that suffered the existence of living, is what you're telling me.
No, I'm just saying I'd rather have to deal with cat milk than read this book. Jesus Christ.
We do have to point out the music that helped with this. Such great classic musical artists such as Bongzilla, Conan, Dark Buddha Rising, I Hate God, Mammoth Weed Wizard Bastard,
You see, these are the vibes we're going with here, Adam. See,
Mörk.
the heavy metal influence right here.
These are
death metal.
It's not heavy metal.
That Derek would listen to. This is the same sort of stuff Derek Deshaw would do when he made Chalt.
I believe the correct term for this kind of metal is doom metal.
No, this is dude weed lamau metal. Fuck this shit.
Am I homosexual if I like power metal?
Probably, but I would prefer it over something like Weed Eater. Or Bong Ripper. Also, no Black Satans, for shame. They're the greatest black metal band of all, and they're a parody.
I have no idea what any of these bands are.
Black metal is like the crappiest of the metal genres. It makes hair metal look good, in my opinion.
Well, you see, Ant, that's the beautiful part of this whole fucking genre. No matter how many times you look at it, it feels like there's a fucking black metal band being generated a minute practically. Sort of like much like a Mork Borg supplement. Another metal band is being created every minute.
If you can barely play a guitar and make the sounds of a pig getting rutted with a spiked dildo, you can make a black metal band. The bar of entry is not very high.
All right, so
okay, but we're at a point where things are coherent. I don't like the St. Peter's cross being used because that's actually very Catholic, you idiots.
They're co-opting it. Look, we colonized a whole bunch of other, things from other people too. I'll allow the hipsters to take it for me this once.
For those wondering, St. Peter's cross is called that because Peter refused to be crucified in the same way as Jesus. He asked for a variation when he was caught by Roman officials. And they agreed.
I see, Adam, how can you be this angry at this book when you got beautiful art like this, where like you just scroll down and it's dark, depressing looking castle?
Oh, that's a photograph that's been run through the black and white filter, had the contrast blasted up, and it just added a noise element to it. I could bang this out in paint.net in about maybe 2 minutes. Hell,
Adam,
my thumbnails. This looks like one of my fucking thumbnails that I shit out.
But Adam, what about the vibes? Look at the vibes it's giving us.
Like this introductory text. The wind from the west.
Oh, we're going to have to read that because this is the least friendly font that you could humanly use if you have a dyslexic person.
Beginning again. The wind from the west, from the sundered land. Rot rides it, and the stench of blood. Cursed walker, will you travel there? To the valley of the unfortunate undead. Our young ones are taken by the child thief, Sergol, known for his vile crimes and alchemy of flesh.
Actually, that's a T, I think.
Ooh.
I think that's a T. We're literate, and we still can't read this old English font.
Well, no, that's why we can read it.
Adam, it's the vibes. It's a design choice. I don't know what you quite call this.
This is something I could
Who
make up in 10 seconds, and I love the variation in bold and font size and angle. Yeah, just if you have dyslexia, go fuck yourself, you know? Just
You
just
will
just go
die,
fucking die. Yeah.
the damned, the unholy. The old care more for sacrifice and god offerings than their bowling spawn. Doomsayers are proved right time and time again, embraced by hidden powers.
This makes Chalt look good. Chalt has a more coherent origin and background than this. Oh, hey, look, queer anarchist colors. Very, very edgy. Much
Technically
cool.
correct, because that is the actual flag for queer anarchism. It's anarchist, it's black, and queer is pink. Although I think it's more a fuchsia, because I think anarcho-feminism is pink as well.
These are just your preconceived notions of danger being tipped off immediately, instead of just admiring the fact that it's brutal and striking.
It's very brutal and striking, and stunning and brave to sit in your Latvian cuck chair.
So, in the beginning, Anup Schleger, monk of the Creation Order, encountered the Basilisk of Verhul in the year 565 and set down that creature's whispered prophecies. These lost texts became known as the Nameless Scriptures.
We couldn't come up with a name for it, so this is the best we got.
300 years later, while working on a new cathedral, the two-headed basilisk, an orthodox branch of the Cretan Order, uncovered the Schlenger's tomb and with the scriptures. Since all events described have come to pass, the prophecies are absolutely factually true and have thus supplanted all that is scriptural. Around this cathedral has grown Galagambeck, the greatest city that ever was.
Okay, so we have something like a story involving butt penis, because I think that's what it means in German.
The basilisks are two and two-headed. The four heads have argued for hundreds of years. Verhu predicts inexorable annihilation, and since he's always right, has become utterly full of himself.
By the way, you like how the paragraph symbols have been thrown in? Do you like the paragraph symbols being thrown in as a fuck up in terms of how this thing was designed?
Yep.
Hey, Adam, we get it. You're dyslexic. You're very angry at the design. We get it.
So he has become utterly full of himself. Paragraph. His is also the head worshipped the most. If he could learn the codes of the apocalypse, perhaps the right offerings might avert it. Verhoon loves his position and hungers for temples to be raised in his name.
I don't think they actually explain what the other three heads are either.
Well, no, because when the world was but water, dust and clouds, thick with plague fat flies, came she, first of the basilisks. From the cracks of the Bergen chirruped, she crawled. She bears the head of denial, Lucy, who looks up and down from the sky with diamonds. Yet all shall be well. Her twin arc, head of deception, claims to be the first prophet of truths, now prostituted by Verhu. If you've ever seen her, the oldest, but many walk her twin paths.
Imagine reading any of the theology behind Glorantha and then just getting plopped down to read this dog shit. You know you're fucked when you're referencing a goddamn song with your monster. She spawned many since the dawn of time, their conceptions not without agony. All were cast down the cliffs of Bergen Crypt. Only he survived, down in the valley of the unfortunate undead, his eyes locked upon the mountain peak. He spits out curses upon his evil mother. The head Gorg is bitter, rank with envy that only his twin Verhu knows the damn truth. Time and time again his prophecies are brought to be. The piles of gold gift riches from his faithful teeter and slide, so tall are they.
Now, a skull and a hand. Ooh.
In fairness, I think this actually required some basic photoshopping to get correct. Kind of.
Vibes, Adam. It's very cool looking. It's very dark.
4. The world dies even now. Reality decays, truth becomes dream, and dream truth. Cracks grow in the once stable structures of the past, allowing things misshapen and vile to worm through, emerging to day's wan light. The known world closes in, bounded to the west by the massive Bergen Crypt, with its catacombs and ice-caked peaks, and surrounded by the endless sea to the north, south, and east.
AKA, we couldn't be fucked to come up with an actual setting.
Many have plowed the waves' furrow in search of new lands. They all return against their will. alive or dead.
Okay, so you're railroaded into this one shitty island. Got it. Very cool.
The lands between, you might say.
By the way, I love how they constantly misspell crypt to make it, I guess, more edgy.
Well, no, it's
Adam,
not a crypt. It's a tript.
Also, grift, very fitting. This is a grift.
Adam, it's very bleak and nihilistic. You see, it's like, oh god, there's no hope for us. We're here in this shitty fucking isle.
Yeah, we read a book like that. It was called Blades in the Dark, and it did it a lot better. Also, you know things are fucked when you stole the city of Schlleswig from Germany and just plopped it into your setting.
Well, no, I think that proves where the end times occur in. Germany.
Actually, I don't think it's a city. Is it? I know it's a state. I know it was a statelet, but it
It's
might be a city.
vague German-sounding words.
No, Schleswig is a real place. I just don't remember if it's like a province or a city. All I do know is this map. Graphics design is my passion. I totally did not just shit this together. God,
It
looks
is a
like
state.
something
I
you'd
like
see in
it.
Donjon. This looks like a Donjon generated piece, just with like a couple of fucking basic collage aspects thrown in.
I will have no slander against Don John, damn it. I've used many of their resources.
Same. But here's the thing. They wanted money for this.
But Galagambeck in the land of Tiveland is the greatest city that ever was. No king or queen rules Galagambeck, but an archpriestess, Josepha Migol. Deep in the cathedral, the two-headed basilisk, in a cool black chamber crossed by shards of light, lies her throne. Josepha, old but still young, commoners gossip she colludes with the god Necrobel, gave her eternal life. Necrobel, the shadow that covers all. Necrobel is melancholy, crop failure, conflict, and war. It is said he whispered the apocalyptic prophecies in Verhu's ear.
I love how they just introduced another god because they couldn't be fucked to even think things through. How much weed do... Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being you're about to drop dead from an overdose because of how much edibles and booze you've chugged, how fucking crossfaded were they when they cooked this up in one sitting?
6,
Well, I mean,
6, 6.
These are Eastern European game designers. Of course, they'll run something.
No, they're crossfading. I'm just wondering by how much do you think they crossfaded? Also,
I mean, probably
what
not
type of
enough
drugs
to
do you
like
think
with
they
them
were
not
on
enough.
besides weed? 11.
Hmm.
So they're dead. They're like on the ground, frothing on the mouth.
Well, no,
Fucking
that's why
black
I put down their level was 666.
I don't know. I guess I had Jankum.
No,
That's
it's
probably all they
clearly
can get
weed.
because of the invasion.
It's clearly weed. I'm just wondering if it's gonna be like vodka or something else.
Crocodile?
Maybe. Also, if you're wondering, time growing ever shorter. So this is a mechanic we'll cover later, but yeah, at any point you can roll the apocalypse.
But in
Just to let you
Tiveland,
know.
See, I like that feature.
yeah.
I really do like that
actually do
feature.
too.
I love
But-
that feature because it's so dumb. And you could basically have some asshole just randomly roll the die until it happens just to fuck everyone else.
But in Tiveland also lies Sarkash. The forests seem lately to spread unnaturally fast. Paths tangle and wind in the overgrown gloom, leading wanderers astray. Far in the depths of Sarkash, where one least suspects to find it, in the halo of dying trees, is Graventusk, a truly ancient cemetery filled with mausoleums, blank-eyed cherubs, stagnant fountains, plague pits, and ordinary graves.
You know, if you get rid of the G and then you put the T at the end and put an L and an F instead of an S, which is something that was done for long S's, you get a different setting that was a lot better. God, I wish we were reading Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft.
But does Ravenloft have the Palace of the Shadow King?
No, but it has magical Romani that were very, very racist in its second edition. It also had more interesting vampire counts and shit, too.
Or does it have Grift?
I mean, this is a grift, let's be fair. This is a big Titanic grift.
Cut from the world by the bottomless Mörk. the thriving city-state can be reached only by 3 bridges of such might and cyclopean size. It is said only enslaved giants could have raised them.
I think this might actually be based on like visual data of Pike. Like if I remember right, if you've ever seen in the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, the Pike Castle I think was designed like that. I wouldn't be surprised if they just saw that and said, "Dude, we should totally just put that and paint it black." Only imagine that in Latvian.
King Sigfum the Kind is mocked in the street. Much of Grift has fallen into disrepair as vile creatures begin crawling from the dried, cracked earth. Each night
These creatures,
bridges
Kickstarter backers.
the bridges scream and roar like great ships grinding upon rocks. Sigfum is defeated. He knows the end is near, believes the prophecies of Verhu, and so, kindly and calmly, prepares his people for death. Huge parchments dot the streets, calendars of despair marking each correct preparation and its time. Each day a leaf is turned, and when the last page comes, Sigfum will march his people to the cliff Tyrion to fulfill what was written. Tyrion, 1,000 meters of vertical rock with the raging sea biting at its base.
Congratulations, you're copying the Dance of Zalongo, the period of time where Albanian women and children jumped to their death to avoid getting captured by Ottoman soldiers. Cool. Very cool. Can we be reading Chal instead? I want to read about the city of Agrabah over this piece of shit.
Kyrgystus. Desolation rolls over Kyrgystus like a frost-barren wind. A lawless and forlorn trek across its ice-racked expanse, crawling over the plains or cowering in the cracked earth to flee the blood countess Anathela.
North, where the wind is born, lies Alians, the storm-piercing spire city of black glass. Within stands a castle like a waterfall of white stone, the throne of Anthelia. She, as pale as her castle walls, as youthful as a drop of melting ice. Some say she is eternally young. The gulls cry the name of knights who sought her hand, a reminder that suitors and signs of Anthelia's age disappear in conjunction. But who listens to a gull? And in Kyrgyz, even gulls freeze in the cold.
I do need
These
to
are
go up,
such minor king.
go
Like,
to our
this is
chat.
nothing.
As Squirrel Carol points out, as a dyslexic metalhead who grew up in a punk household, I can read this fine.
Okay. Don't worry, it gets worse from here.
Look at that. She's holding the man's head. Metal!
Do you think I think they might have traced these. Because they did use a lot of public domain aspects to make this, if I remember right.
Perhaps. But
I
then we
wouldn't
have
be surprised.
the Western Kingdom, called Wastland, the songs of the simple and rhymes of the poor, once home to the peace and wealth of when Lake Onda gifted fish and the river trade thrived. Now terror and despotism stalk. In the secret citadel of the sad but gaudy city of Schlleswig, King Fathom the Ninth schemes. Paranoid, fat, and increasingly mad, he is consumed with psychosis and invisible fears.
Okay.
A place few wish to speak of is the Valley of the Unfortunate Undead.
What a terrible name.
Rumors whisper the basilisk He is coiled within its crypts, a sight infrequently survived. Lies and legends enshroud the valley, obscuring any truth. Peddler tales say the soil, the very air is lethal, bringing a sleepless, stumbling death. This is no clean fate, but a slow-growing, fathomless despair, wearing down the traveler with poisoned memories and dark thoughts until the spark of life is mutated into a mournful, hopeless undeath.
I'm gonna be honest, I prefer Chalt where I can actually make fun of the geological setting itself because more thought was put into it than this piece of shit ever had. Teletubby looking ass art. I have to agree, Nito.
They are the
Graphics
Teletubbies.
design
Oh
is
no.
my passion.
But now we enter the calendar of Nethrabel.
Cool.
The GM rolls a dice each dawn. A result of one activates one misery. The die is used is determined by the GM and the group. The DM then rolls D66 to determine which misery occurs. The same misery will not befall the world twice. But then the seventh misery. The seventh misery will always be 7-7, and the world finally dies. The seventh seal is broken for the seventh and final time. The game and your lives end here. burn the book.
So you can buy another, because that's, I guess, the gimmick.
I think it may be a reference to Aleister Crowley. I think he said like one of his books to burn it.
Possibly, but it was also stupid back then, too. Burn This Book was a shitty book anyway.
And when does this agony end? So, if it's supposed to be years of pain, you roll a d100. If it's a bleak half year, d20. A fall in anguish, d10. A cruel month, d6. And if the end is nigh, then every dawn, you roll a d2.
And I guess a D2 on 2 it ends. Okay.
Well, no. So, the rule is this. Every day, you roll a die. If you get a 1, then you then roll a d66 to determine which misery you're getting. Like which...
Do they
And,
even have misery? Oh, here we go.
yeah. So, basically, if the end is nigh, you have 50-50 chance of getting this apocalyptic doom. This basically, is the world going to end in years, in 6 months, in a season, in a month, or most likely in a week?
That's so stupid.
You then basically have 6 miseries that will end up occurring, and after the 6th, the 7th one ends.
Oh, whoops. Sorry, guys. Looks like the game's ended because the dice told me to. I had an entire arc fucking planned, but yeet, fuck it, we're done. Let's just go eat some chips and, I don't know, fucking watch RoboCop for the 5th time on my broken DVD player. Fuck it.
But look at these great psalms, such as, "The city shall be made hollow. Of those who rest in hollowness they shall not be seen." Or, "And the ground pale with maggots. Brother shall say brother,
This
and
is the
sister
only part
poison
of the book where
sister.
they tried, and they should have tried elsewhere.
For 5 days and 5 nights mother's flesh shall be the cloak of demons.
Squirrel Killer wants me to put this in 2x2 mode. Are you sure about that?
And the birds shall fall dead from the sky.
All right. I
And
mean,
they shall..."
I guess if people want us to do this in 2x2, let me see if I can fix
No,
it to be that way.
I think, yeah, because some of these immediately... But still with the psalms. And the day shall be night, and night is day. You shall not sleep, neither shall you wake. And then finally, "All praise Yetsabunek, the underworld's nightmare, the black disk which stands before the sun. All praise Verhu, beaming with delight. All praise the fire which burns all, and darkness shall swallow the darkness." Ya, Cthulhu Hatagan.
This sucks. Oh, I see what. I'm gonna be blunt. If you have to rely on 2-page spreads to get people to give a shit, oh, I fucking hate this way.
You
I
know, saying
actually kind of hate this more.
immediately connects with the next page.
I don't give a shit. I fucking hate this.
And we do now have a dedication. Mork Borg is dedicated to Pel Dead Unheal. Let the good times roll.
I feel bad for him being commemorated in this one. I'm
But
sorry, but this book
you
doesn't deserve it.
you walk in discord and despair. One hand holds 2d6 times 10 silvers. The other holds a water skin and d4 days worth of food. And to
Oh,
begin
this
with,
is
you
this
are
is the
what you
part where it's
own.
supposed to be character creation. Oh, this is where we are. Okay.
Yes. So you roll
High
first a
quality.
d6,
Excellent choice. Excellent design decisions.
then a d12, and then another d12 to determine what items you have.
Adam, I can't help but think you're playing up your anger here.
Oh no. You don't understand. We're actually in the less bad part of the book so far. Don't worry, it gets worse.
To create a player character, randomize your starting equipment on the page. Then you randomize your weapon and armor. Roll your abilities, roll your hit points, and name your character if you wish. It will not save you.
Cool.
So weapons. It's a D10 roll to see if you begin with, or if you have a scroll, a
So,
D6.
so this is the part that I actually really start to hate, because this is where they basically say, you know what? Fuck it. We're supposed to make a book. We ran out of ideas 10 pages ago because we had none. So fuck it. Let's just have a bunch of stuff we took from the internet and ran
Femur.
through fucking Photoshop, man.
A staff, a short sword, a knife, a warhammer, a sword, a bow, unarmed.
Oh boy, this is just like making a character in Dark Souls.
Look at that edge. See how creative they are? We put the weapons on the guy's corpse, and there's blood dripping out of him.
So what happened was they took a woodcut of a dude, and then what they did was they did a couple of photo layers at best. Like, this depends on if they even bothered to do this in physical print before scanning it again, or if they just said fuck it and ran it through layers of Photoshop. And then they just added a blood filter. The only thing I'll give compliment to is, unlike Chalt, they at least didn't do fucking strawberry jam for the blood.
And femur, by the way, is the weapon you get on a 1. Did you recognize that?
No, I didn't, because this is terrible. This is awful fucking book design. This is actually some... I would rather read Empire Satanis, which was a Word document, over this.
You said enjoy the art.
If you can somehow see, next to each item is a number. Not the D4 or whatever. I think that's damage, although I can't tell.
Oh, look, you have to go to the connection thing to denote that unarmed is always an option. They don't specify that, by the way.
But then you can also get a flail, a crossbow, or, as it says in deep black text across both pages, Zweihander.
Oh, they're Handcaps. That makes a lot of sense. It's like, fuck you. We're taking your money, buddy. We're taking your kroner. We're taking your sweet shekels to make this book. No refunds.
And then your armor.
By the way, just to note that this is like about 5% of the book that they just pissed on this. High quality. Very cool.
And then look at the image for the armor. There's dead dogs, 2 women dying, and a guy hanging himself as 2 men stab each other.
Eh.
An armor, if you have a scroll, you only roll a D2.
So these are done in tiers, which also have prices to them. This is one of the few times these 2 pages, which, by the way, queer anarchism again, just to let you know. This is one of the few areas where they actually tried.
And then your equipment.
I think they had to try. This is like one of the only things they could think of. Also, I love the part where when they have for a half second, oh, this thing can stop this, or this can do this. They just have it bleed over into the black. So it's supposed to be quirky and artsy because we don't give a shit about design principles at all in a book. Yeah, no. No.
But you can buy a preserved corpse.
Why the hell does it cost so much?
Well, it's preserved.
This is dumber than the time we actually calculated the price of an elf's skin.
Also, it means that you can't eat it, or you strip it clean.
No, you can choose to eat it if you're creative enough.
Yeah, but preserving it just means that it increases its value. It's like a tender meat.
Yeah, this is on par with the calculating the price of an elf's flesh and skin from Chalt, but not as funny.
But then we have finally our ability.
Do you think, Chad? Do you think they tried really hard or not at all when they made this? Because that determines whether or not I should laugh harder or not. Oh, hey, the only part of the book that feels like an actual book is here, and most of it's wasted on an art asset you don't even really see.
Which looks like a collection of corpses merging together across a deep wave as a red sun rises.
Oh, this is just Babby's first attempt at dealing with the flood. This is the Diluvian period where the Nephilim are cast down because they mated with humans. They just added a fucking deep one in here for edge purposes and to reference that it's Cthulhu and Cthulhu's public domain.
Oh yeah, I think this is a public domain image.
A lot of it is.
It feels like
this is literally an asset flip. This is a fucking modern art scam as far as I'm concerned.
But if you dare choose to play this dark game,
I think this is the most cynical fucking thing that you could possibly have.
Your abilities are as follows: agility, presence, strength, and toughness. You roll 3d6, and using the table on the right to generate each ability score from -3 to +3.
Okay, so it's in order.
Yeah. Tests are made against a difficulty rating. To succeed on a roll of d20 plus or minus your ability, with a result equal to or greater than the difficulty rating. Creatures don't use abilities, they just roll a d20 against DR.
By the way, you like the part where they don't actually give examples of play because they couldn't be bothered to, because that's effort that could have been done.
Because they're all dead.
Because
Their
they
minds
couldn't be
blasted
bothered.
with insanity.
Oh no, that's the weed and the fucking vodka. Possibly crocodile. Possibly Xanax. We don't know.
Your carrying capacity is strength +8.
By the way, here's another page that's completely wasted on trying to be edgy when it's not. It's just, hey, we found a picture of a heart, ran it through a fucking Photoshop filter. Actually, no, it's not even that. You took a heart, removed the background aspect of it, put it on black background, and then very slightly altered the contrast.
It's a
You see, Adam, it's actually
hit
an homage to video. It's an homage to video game logic, where they use the cartoonish, like love heart, and you're never using a real heart because that's what keeps you alive in the real life, in darkness world.
My rebuttal to this is I shouldn't be able to point out and show how I could make something like this.
It's your toughness plus a D8.
This is embarrassing. I've made thumbnails like this. Jesus Christ.
You have 0 HP.
Oh, good. Pink on white text. Excellent. Just fuck your printers, man.
Yeah, and then violence.
That's what the publisher probably felt when they saw this fucking atrocity.
So 0 HP means you are broken. Negative HP, you're dead.
Cool. You borrowed it from AD&D. Older editions of D&D, you didn't have negatives. You just fucking dropped dead once you got below 0.
Your violence. Initiative is rolling a d6. On a 1 through 3, enemies go first. On a 4 through 6, player characters go first.
Okay, this is where I'm going to give slight praise to this. I'm okay with this. This is actually an okay way to do initiative.
And then agility plus d6 for individual initiative, where to determine who goes first within the group.
So that is 1/4 of one page. That's like 1/4%. At least it's not a 0.
Oh, right. Rules light for the win, baby.
Yep. Melee is test strength on a difficulty rating of 12. Range test presence on a difficulty rating of 12. Defense test agility on a difficult rating of 12. And then if you tilt your head about, I think, 90 degrees?
Oh,
you can read that it says
off.
The DR for attacks and defense are modified as with any test.
Oh, fuck that. I didn't even see that the first time I read this piece of shit.
What's the matter, Adam?
I hate that.
What are you mad, bro?
At this point, why don't you just put everything in mirror writing? Just fuck it. Like, they bought your book.
Don't give them ideas. But
Adam, this is the interactivity at work here. Is what you don't understand.
This is we're going to pretend to be artsy and have some rich moron buy our stuff so they could take their drug money and funnel it cleanly. That's what modern art is nowadays. It is legitimately a way to launder money, and this includes this book.
Yeah, it's now a bad time to mention I bought my Amazon copy.
I love the idea that what they did was they used this Kickstarter specifically so they could launder the money they get from booze. from like their fucking moonshine business. I don't know, man.
Yeah, Adam, but have you thought about this? They have a moonshine business and you don't. So who's the real winner here?
I win by being alive.
I mean,
I ain't
that's kind
dead
of the
yet.
goal of this game. But now, finally, when you have rest, you restore D4 HP. A full night's sleep restores D6. Without food or drink, no HP is restored, and when resting, and after 2 days, a starving PC loses D4 hit points per day. An infected character does not benefit from resting. Instead, D6 hit points is lost daily.
I don't know if this is trying to follow Zen Principles, but this just shows why zines died horribly once the internet became a thing. By the way, how long is a round? A round is enough time to make an attack or use a power and traverse a normal-sized room. There are usually 10 rounds in 1 minute, aka you're borrowing from basic, and this is just really shit basic.
So it's 6 seconds?
This is shit-tastic basic. Even
So
EULA terms and conditions are easier to spot than find print of. I have to agree, Mr. Zilla. This thing is complete ass.
But then, when you meet uncertain creatures...
We broke all of the printer basics. We're so quirky and edgy and totally not hacks trying to take basically 10 pages and stretch it out to 100.
Then you have your reactions and morale. If you defeat an enemy so much that it will flee.
By the way, these are basically borrowed from basic as well. These are just refluffed basic mechanics because they needed to stretch the book.
And then look, it is El Nefalches, the four-eyed sister of damnation and the lord of flies.
I think I drew better faces than this when I was in goddamn grade school. Maybe not the horns, but the faces, yeah.
Also, the game master decides when a character should be improved. And what happens? More HP. Roll 6d10. If the result is equal to or greater than your current maximum HP, increase it by a d6.
Yeah, that's such a great improvement. Wow.
You'll find debris, or items in the debris.
Oh, apparently from
Increasing
Squirrel
your
Killer.
abilities.
So the people who made this are constantly acting like they're geniuses for making something that I actually argue is worse than Derek DeShaw's book. Oh, that's embarrassing.
It's
There is
revolutionary.
one aspect that I hate about the creators of this, and we'll get to it when we read their Creative Commons license and stipulations.
Oh, that's going to be excellent.
You might know it, Adam, but don't spoil it for the people at home.
But then we have our powers. A few so-called powers are known, and they are found written in scrolls. When reading a scroll test presence DR12, if you succeed, the power is activated. You subtract 1 use from your daily total. If you fail, the power isn't working. You lose 2d hit points. And you become dizzy for the next hour.
So here's my question. Do you think Derek borrowed this from Chalt, or do you think they borrowed from Derek?
I don't...
Because
they borrowed
this
something
is
from
coming
the
from the
OSR.
same cracked out pothead who fucking hates wizards. I'm calling it right here.
The concept or the company?
Yes. Because this, if I had a nickel for every time we covered a post-apocalyptic setting that hated wizards and was done by a bunch of potheads, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
So, we have our unclean scrolls. Like
This
the
book is
palms
unclean.
open the southern gate.
I'm just envisioning
deals...
the printer, like, vomiting ink when it makes this, and it just fucking catches fire. That's why they needed so much money. They needed that just for the publisher house not to instantly kick him out. Jesus Christ.
Or eyelid blinds the wind. D4 creatures fall asleep for 1 hour unless they succeed on a DR14 test. And finally, death. All creatures within 30 feet lose a total of 4d10 hit points. But then we have our sacred scrolls, in which you have grace for a sinner. A creature of your choice gets plus d6 to 1 roll.
Oh, by the way, if you're wondering, all of the spells that are listed here are just stolen from D&D and just refluffed to match the HP amount. That's the most amount of effort that they actually bothered here.
I mean, to
Or-
be fair,
Except for
wizardry
Tongue
is
of
pretty
Eris.
simple if you think about it.
Well, no, except for Tongue of Eris. That's the only one that seems relatively unique, and that's just because of the crazy dice mechanics.
I remember there was this one supplement that was really cool. It was called D666, and it was basically a whole list of more magic, basically, and it was I quite like the fluff for it.
You mean the half thought out garbage that was gargled out? Because most of these are basically just you take a D&D spell, slap it in to match the mechanics, and then just kind of make it in a way that's an unorganized pile of shit to read through.
It's telling the reader, Adam, how they can convert these spells into this setting, and how they can be creative, Adam. It's very GM friendly if you think about it.
It's very, I'm a hack fraud, give me money. Give me money! That's what I feel when I look at this.
It's the simplicity made easy for an audience of retards like me in order to make other spells.
There's
But
other
then after
games,
the
though, that are
powers,
better than this, that are even easier.
After the powers, we have the Basilisk, She, Lucy, and Ark. And the Basilisk may demand a sword that is killed exactly 12 times. Blunt day bread,
A baker's dozen, if you will.
a rare anti-obsidian from the Earlian crypts. The forbidden brew of the Hermit of Tyrion, a body mutilated by those who loved it in life.
By the way, another 2 pages wasted on random bullshit. Actually, if you count the number of, hey, here's a bunch of stuff you can roll for to stretch out the page length and to kind of pretend this is a book, I think we're on 10. I think we're at 10% of this book just being page stretching garbage. I also love the second to last minute edition of the other head, because you have the one body which is stretched out and you have the head reaching in towards you, and then you just have the other head that just kind of feels like, oh fuck, we forgot to add the other head. By the way, where's the other 2? Because it's a 4-headed
It's just like
entity.
the worm.
No,
just
that
worm
was
from all the darkness, Adam.
This is She, he, Verhu. No one knows where he is.
He's part of the same.
Actually, no, I thought he wasn't like. No, I think there's 2
No,
different.
they are. No, they're not. It's part of the same fucking entity. They're trying to go for like Eldritch, where he's not, where it's like multi-dimensional. So like in the 3-dimensional real space, it's like an aspect or a pop-up. But they fucked up. I assume it's because it was already a struggle just to draw the one, and then they had to add the second hit. It's like, oh, we can't be fucked to have the other 2.
It is Nirchagul, the third blasphemy.
Oh, there's 2 two-headed basilisks. Okay. Okay, fair enough. I'll take the L on that one.
But now we have optional rules. We have omens.
Are
also
you
known
sure
as
they aren't just running this
Jarfektin.
through? They're just running this through like GIMP or something, and then they just kind of turn it black and white, up
Every
the
class
contrast
gains
to 100%, and then oh my god.
We have trauma, such as terrible traits, such as being prone to substance abuse.
Well, I was gonna say the trauma is going between the black page and the white page because it's actually giving me a mild fucking headache.
Or being bipolar, or bitter, nihilistic. You could also have a broken body, such as lost 3 toes, red swollen alcoholic's nose.
Are they accidentally describing themselves?
Chronic athlete's foot.
I think they might be accidentally describing themselves. Holy shit.
Also, by the way, I love this.
Allegedly.
What is this? So what does this have to impact the game?
I was going to say Nick Cicada.
Well, you see, what happened is we ran out of ideas by Oh my god. So here's what I think happened. They played a lot of basic, and they had a dungeon, which we'll look at later. And then the rest of it is, oh fuck, how do we justify getting $50,000 off of these fucking idiots for more pot? That's what I think happened.
And then we finally have Ba'ad Ab Eat.
You see, if we do this, we can pretend and make people think we're smarter than we really are.
Best friend is a skull carried with you. Tell it everything. Trust no one more.
Oh, here's another generative table because we can't be fucked to actually make anything good.
You stutter when lying. You whistle while trying to hide. You will deny this. Whistle when a 5, 7, 9, 3, or 13 is rolled on a d20.
By the way, I actually don't count this as OSR. This is like not even 5th edition level anything. I
Adam,
don't count this.
I take umbrage with your disparity towards roll tables. These are RPG enhancements.
I
Have you
love
thought
roll
about
tables,
that?
but here's the problem. They have to actually be worth a shit. I actually like the roll tables in Blades in the Dark, which also had them for organizations and for deities. But that was after giving me a complete game with mechanics and everything. This is just some asshole's basic BX fucking homebrew garbage. That's not even very good. It has less in it than goddamn Chalt, which is saying a lot. Chalt at least
Yep.
gives you multiple dungeons and
Troubling,
is easier to read.
yeah. Troubling backstories.
By the way, it
Such as,
also much like Chalt, this has the evil creatures love the scent of your shit and are drawn to it,
yeah,
which I think
such
is on par with cat milk.
Yeah. A puzzle cube has been calibrated incorrectly, or has it? Awakening a slumbering abomination with such sights to show you, such as Mork Borg.
Adam, you see, that's actually very clever because I don't know how much of a movie buff you are, but that's actually a reference to one of my favorite horror films, Nightmare on Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah, with Freddy Got Fingered as the villain. I know that one. Like that's the bit where he torments his father with the sausage puppets before killing him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that film.
Or being at permanent war with the Corvids.
You just flip up a crow every time you see it and he screams at you.
Violence forced you into the wilderness. You think waving trees are whispering. You talk to, scream at, attack trees.
They're just like the Malkavians, guys!
Wait a minute, this is supposed to be how you join the party, I guess?
No, this is just your backstory.
This is supposed to be a backstory.
Troubling tales, as they call it. As say, roll a d20 or throw a knife at the page to the right.
You know, to destroy the book so that you have to buy another one, asshole. What a fucking scam.
Then we have here another disturbing and barely readable background. Think arcane.
Oh yeah, this is the part where I flipped shit. I remember this.
Catastrophe. And then if you tilt your head 90 degrees to the left, effects in cursive are things the caster might not immediately realize. You read it wrong, you illiterate fool.
You made a terrible book, you illiterate drug addicts.
Now the rules, which read horizontally and then vertically. A caster who rolls the same result twice explodes in screaming black fire in which the faces of tilt 90 degrees to the right.
Yeah, this is
the
the part
dead
where
are
I flip
seen.
shit.
D6 damage each round. Water only feeds this fire.
You don't understand, Adam. This is exactly. You see, they're taking inspiration from such great works like Warhammer Roleplay, where magic has its it has its cost when using it and dangers.
No. They took this, but they took it from Chalt. They stole this from Chalt.
They took it from a greater inspiration. Fatal.
No, they took it from Chalt. I don't know which one of them came out first.
I do
they came out in the same year.
Well, I say fatal because the second one is that you postulate with a magical STD. Those intimate with you will die of plague within D4 days, as then rise as woeful weeping zombies who track you down in your dreams before finding you in reality.
You know, yeah. Maybe they both got inspired by Fatal. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually willingly played Fatal. Like that was their first game.
Yeah. Oh, well, if it was, we'd have a much more complex RPG.
Well, no. The trauma of playing Fatal while on drugs is why they made this book. That and to scam people.
Though I do like this one. Your skeleton is possessed by some unearthly force and will do anything to kill you and escape. Drowning or piercing is preferred so the bones are not damaged.
This is legitimately the joke. Your skeleton wants to free itself. That's where they stole that from.
But then you perhaps could fall through Ketha into the esoteric dimension of Cube Violet, a place of mythical obscurity. The walls are smooth, iridescent, and cold, above an endless inferno. To leave, you must either slay riddling Kulvin, who holds 3 colorless pearls, poison a close friend with crumbling sick shroom, reach up through the fire to the golden key, or the cube is perfect and empty. You can only wait in maddening timeless silence until another fool arrives.
Translation, fuck you if you play Magic. You're an asshole if you play Magic. Here's all the reasons you shouldn't play Magic. Also, why is no one playing my game, guys? Why? I don't understand. Why aren't you playing my game? Printers, why aren't you printing my book? Spams nothing but black pages on white fucking text. I don't understand.
And then 20, he shows up and eats you.
Okay.
But then now we have the optional classes.
You know, optional. Having mechanics, fuck that. I played Fatal. We don't want to do that.
Adam, you don't understand. This degree of complexity to the system of picking and choosing for greater customization for other DMs games. It's actually ingenious, and I think you're just being very negative Nancy about this.
I'm just highlighting that this is a kind of a testament to how these guys should just stick to playing 5e. That seems to be about where their speed is.
But the first one is the Fang Deserter.
I think basic is too hard for them at this point.
You have 30 or so friends who never let you down. Your teeth.
You're really telling me this guy has a full set of teeth?
But your parliament of teeth, enormous, protruding, thick and sharp, have always been your allies.
You're really telling me a dude like this probably has all of his teeth? Okay.
And
he's a vampire.
You have your abilities. And also specific stats rolls for your strength and agility.
Yep, and it doesn't really give you anything of interest. It's just very minimal things.
2. Gutter-born scum. An ill star smiled upon your birth. Poverty, crime, and bad parenting didn't help either. In your community, an honest day's work was never an option. Not that you ever tried. What are you, some kind of mug? A razor blade and a moonless night are worth a week of chump work.
Yeah, I think they just got. Did they just get like an 8-year-old to draw that for them, and then they just added the effects?
I like that picture because that's me. That's my character I play. His name's Jimmy the Retard.
Oh yeah, this is the guy that you drew when you were like 8. Yeah, like you were in grade school.
This is a bad kid's drawing of Jeff the Killer.
I think it might be Killer from like 15 years ago.
Yeah, instead of Jeff the Killer, this is Jimmy the Retard.
If I was the printer, I'd have a no print order for this. Holy shit.
3. Esoteric Hermit. The stone of your cave...
No. 3. Fuck you, printer. Fuck you, printer. Print this book.
The stone of your cave is one with the stars. Silence and perfection.
Which is the opposite of this book.
Of a fallen world disturbs your rituals, and the call of night grows blacker than your cavern's gloom. Irritating!
You're literally a Hikikomori. It's like, no, allow me to goon in my cave and do shrooms. Am I accidentally describing the writers again? I'm sorry. Actually, if you think about it, these all apply to the writers. Their only friends are their teeth, they're gutter-born scum, and they live in a gooning cave where they hallucinate to the stars.
Possibly, because the next one is Wretched Royalty. Bowed down only by the memories of your lost glory, you could never submit to anyone else. Not you, of noble blood.
You know, the thing is, apparently they're very big drama queens and brag about how cool this book is. So
also by the way,
to them.
By the way, turn your head 90 degrees to the right to read your backstory.
Nah, if they couldn't bother to format it, I'm just going to refuse to read it at all. Fuck them.
Then 5. The Heretical Priest. Hunted by the two-headed basilisk of the one true faith, this heretic can be found raving in ruins, traipsing endlessly down dusty roads and desecrating cathedrals by night.
If you're wondering, again, St. Peter's Cross. So this guy's actually just a Catholic priest sick and tired of this shit. This is a Catholic priest who saw this setting that he's stuck in and said, yeah, this place sucks. I'll try to
Also, by
teach
the
you
way,
the way so that you don't get to be stuck in this shithole any longer when you die.
so again, your origins, partially, you have to turn your head 90 degrees to the right to
Ain't
read
reading
it.
it.
But also,
If you can't be
item,
bothered to try, then I'm not going to be bothered to read it.
item number 666, wrong Jesus
Wait,
crucifix.
they actually did the mirror writing. You
They did.
asshole. You fucking asshole.
Because it's anti-Christ. It's the opposite of Christ.
Yeah, it's Peter who's even holier. Like, I don't want to be like Jesus, so please crucify me in a way that's not like him. Jesus fucking Christ.
6. Occult herb master. Born of the
Dude
mushroom,
Weed
raised in
Lamau.
clay,
That's the class. Dude
watched
Weed
by the eye
Lamau.
of the moon in a silver-black pool.
I like
And
how they
then,
gave up on the third one. Like, the first two have, like, a little bit of effort and detail done on these masks that I think may have been stolen from Africa and Japan, respectively. And then it's like, yeah, fuck it. We can't be bothered with this one. We can't care.
then we have the creatures. The goblins.
There's the rape goblin with his micro penis hanging out.
No, I think that's supposed to be a loincloth, maybe.
And if you are killed by a goblin, you have to find it and kill it. For if it lives D6 days after the attack, he will warp irrevocably into one yourself.
By the way, yeah, in this setting, you actually got it wrong. They don't even have to hit you. They just have to try to attack you, and then you become a goblin.
This is Seth the Goblin. And then finally, Bent the Scum/Hobo, which I believe also that image is taken from something I've seen in other horror works.
It's been abducted with that. It's so punk. Yeah, I agree, Scroll Killer. It's so poser. This is very poser.
Then we have Zukuma, the Berserker.
Don't you like how they're just desperately struggling to even come up with a bestiary? Like, that's how fried they are. They're fucking cooked.
And Rat, the Wraith. Or Bells, the blood-drenched skeleton. Who's
With a
drenched in
gun.
blood.
I love this despising of the printer every time.
And then Leech, the Necromancer. And then
Oh, that's supposed to be a troll?
Arsint, the Troll. Yeah, it looks like a bull.
It's a bull. It's just a horrible drawing of a bull that they couldn't even do
And
right.
I mean, that looks more like a deer, to be fair.
Nod
It's
the
Man Bear
Zombie.
Pig.
The undead doll of Lady Porcelain.
That's just a fucking baby. That's just like a fucking baby doll that you got that you just put bad filtering on.
Thinks, the Grotesque.
By the way, this won a lot of rewards, by the way. Buy it. You gotta totally buy this. It's a great book. It's clearly not a cash grab. I actually think this is scummier than Thirsty Swords Lesbians, which that was also an affinity scam. But that you actually got campaigns, as limited as they were. You had characters. It had more substance despite being an affinity scam.
And then Alend, Wicked Knife Wielder, and Discount Dark Souls player.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's that one order of, like, dudes who wear the lamps on their heads.
And Elotha the Wyvern.
That was an attempt to. That's an attempt to make like a Norse dragon of sorts, because they have those, like the Norse serpents. This is just like Babby's first scribble of the Midgard serpent.
And then we have our outcast followers, such as the Pale One.
No, you don't
Prowler.
understand. They're also because of the pink washing. Be gay, do crime. That's what their thing is.
You have the Earthbound, the Wild Wickhead.
Which I think might be based on Keith Robinson art, because that looks suspiciously like his take on one of the yokai.
The Pale One, the
Which
Prowler.
might be a Weeping Angel reference. I don't know.
And then another upside.
I've seen this before. I've seen this art design before.
Another upside-down cross, but in orange.
I wonder what that means. Also, again, fuck you, publishing house.
And then I
Suffa
believe we have
Publishing
our,
House. Of
yeah,
course,
our,
I want you to have 8,000 gallons of black ink on my book. What do you think of that?
and then the wrought black sludge, or the Shadow King's lost heir.
So wait, what they're saying is this is what the book's gonna turn into? Like the ink is just gonna ooze out of it? 5 pounds of black ink just oozes out of it?
It's alive. How do you think we were able to get so much of it?
Oh no, it's just so cheap. It's so cheap, the printing, that it just leaks. I feel like if you got a copy of this book, it would just start oozing the fucking ink.
So you face execution for heretical theft, but a masked seer, courtier of the Shadow King, offered you a chance at life.
I like the random capitalization of non-proper nouns. I mean, I do that too. It's just
Yeah.
really funny that this is a finalized print run that they still fucked up on.
You now go to the place of the accursed den.
By the way, this is the only part of the book where they tried, because what they did is much like Derek, they made the dungeon first because this is a basic campaign that they turned into an art scam. But unlike Derek, who gives you an assortment of options, they just give you this one. You gotta pay more, buddy, if you want more. Don't you want more of this? Do you want to spend more splenduli for this fucking shit?
And you have about, 15 possible encounters, and you've got a bunch of tables. Oh, no, actually, no, you only roll these tables in the pump room, the chain room, and the debris room.
Yeah, because again, this is the only part of the book where they tried. This is actually one of the only points that I'm going to give credit to this book, because it's clear that this is where all of their effort went into. This is where they decided to actually stay sober and make something.
And I kind of like how they're also saying that, where you can move like north or south, the different items there and
Like
the things that things that you could do in there. I don't know, it feels like they're now taking inspiration from Zork.
I don't think so. I think this is basic dungeon construction 101. And here's my big issue with this. You can actually find examples of this online nowadays. Like, there's people that actually do offer their dungeon maps, and Donjon itself does this. Donjon has a dungeon generator that does a lot of stuff like this. The one thing that this has that I like is the D4 random encounters that allows you to do these dungeon runs, and it never feels exactly the same. And it also punishes metagaming if for some reason you play this more than once. This is clearly the only part of the book where they put any effort in at all, in my opinion.
And you've got like guards and prisoners that might show up.
They also have a neat moment where you can kind of go into a dining hall, get told stories by an old man, which it's cool, but it also punishes you because the guards will hear it. The guards actually, they specify the guards will hear anything in the adjoining room because they're paying attention. Like, this is basic dungeon construction 101, and it does it fine. This is the only section of the book that I like. It is simply designed, it covers everything you need, it shows the room in highlighting, which I like. This is the only section of the book I like.
If you bring this book near a heat source, it turns into black inky sludge.
No, I think genuinely it will start leaking, Mr. Zilla.
Well,
Like, the amount of black ink. I imagine that the pages are wavy. It depends on, because it really depends when you print these. And I swore I saw staples in the scan copy. So I wouldn't be surprised if they used relatively cheap low weight paper, which that's just going to leak. You need really expensive paper to actually make this work. Well, not really expensive, but you need paper that can take a lot of ink. You need a high weight paper, from what I understand.
I mean, give props to Genesis. I believe that's what they did.
Here's the thing. I shat on Genesis, but Genesis is an RPG. It has more thought put into it. I actually thought about and put ideas into the setting just because there's stuff that you can think about in it. I don't think they went far enough, but you have to give some credit to what they did have. I think they were uncreative with their usage of Christianity. I think they could have totally done some interesting post-apocalyptic takes on it. or on Judaism or on Islam, but they chose not to. You could have done some interesting stuff with that. The African stuff is fucked, but you know. This has one pretty good designed dungeon. I'm gonna give credit here. I think the dungeon's pretty well designed. There's a couple of things that are just kind of like save or fucking die, but this is basic. This is them basically borrowing from BX's design philosophy, where if you're stupid or if you're not cautious, you'll fucking die.
So most players.
What'd you miss, Pagan Pilot? Me just going full bore on this fucking thing, making fun of it as an art house scam, and Biggs trying his best to defend it.
But after this adventure is done, in which you can then reveal what this Fletcher guy is, fight the rot black sludge, they then give you more charts to give you more reasons to risk one's life.
Basically, what they decided to do is they needed to put more content in so they could charge up the price of the book. That's what I think happened here.
And they do give dungeon builders like a quick chart to either give like descriptions, what it's called, sample rooms.
Yeah, so they give you some dungeon construction methods. So, what's the name of the dungeon? What's its status? Is it occupied? What's some of the dangers? What type of traps would it have? What dwells there, which determines what type of monsters you'd put in there. Any interesting features? What type of rooms? It's the only other thing I kind of like in this book, but even then, I'd honestly just go to Donjon and generate it. If you don't have it, it's kind of good on hand, but it's not something I'd get this book for.
And with that, actually, that is the entire book.
Yeah, it's not a lot, mainly because, well, yeah. That's it. It's not much of a book.
Would you like to see their license, or did you want to go into some of the other products that they have?
Hey, we got
it does
time.
not say on here their Creative Commons license.
Where's your Creative Commons? Not suitable for those under the age of 16. Fair enough. They don't actually have it on here, I don't think.
Here, I'll post. They got it on their website. Here, I'll post it in chat for us.
Okie dokie, let's take a look. Yeah, that's it.
Oh, fuck.
That's why I'm going to take a look at another book, because I have a couple of these.
There you go.
Yeah, I made sure to come prepared. I have a couple more books. So let's take a...
Because it should be mentioned, because the one thing that it has in its favorites, it's really fucking open. And they encourage a lot. I would say after Powered by the Apocalypse, this is probably the second most used fucking rule system.
It's not a rule system. I don't think it's a rule system.
Well, I don't know what the fuck you call it, because they keep making fucking products. Third parties keep making fucking products for this fucking system, man. I don't know what the fuck to call it.
Because there's no effort. It's just art. It basically proved you didn't need to do anything. This is a scam.
Here's
Adam, you
what,
can roll dice, damn it. They did the bare minimum at least. Stop being so negative.
No.
Here's what I consider this. I consider this the reverse of the Powered by the Apocalypse. These are very verbose or artistic. They're very short, but they lack any meaningful gameplay mechanics. It's very much relying upon the games master to actually create the game.
This system, the idea I had for the system was, for when I eventually get back to GMing, was the idea of like, one or two people can't make it that night, but people are really down for a game. This is what you fucking use to fill in that void as you fuck around, basically.
I can't give it even that, because honestly, that's what I'd suggest for Blades in the Dark. It's rules light, it's simple, it has more material for it, it has a city setting that you can constantly work with, different factions you can do, it's all pre-built, you have classes, everything's designed more efficiently. As far as I'm concerned, this is a base D&D basic scam that was made from one dungeon. And what happened was, this encouraged people to go, wait a minute, we don't have to fucking try at all. We don't have to do nothing. We just got to make a crappy dungeon that we made in Donjon, and then, like a couple homebrew, slap some crap together and make money. I don't got to do nothing. It's the ultimate grift.
Everybody is a bunch of hypocrites, or they don't believe in art. They don't want to see the little man succeed so they can get their drug money.
But these aren't
Everybody
the
in
little men.
chat, everybody in chat, come in chat right now and tell me how much of a negative Nancy Adam is and how this is just a fun little system.
By the way,
Thank you, Pilot.
I am
Cyborg,
looking at the
yes.
license and some
Load
basics
up on
for
screen
that.
for us.
Sure. Here is the license screen. This allows anyone to make stuff for Mork Borg, so this is essentially the same principles as Powered by the Apocalypse. And you're allowed to publish free or commercial material based for or declaring compatibility with Dungeons & Dragons Basic, Mork Borg, because that's what it is. Art and text from the books cannot be reused or translated, even though, last I checked, some of them are public domain. A little bit weird there. You can use the rules as referenced freely, so you can use the femur bone. You can't use the femur bone art, but you could use the 2-page spread. You just have to come up with your own art. Things are fucked when the Free League was like, yeah, we don't want anything to do with this. Free League is like, no, don't allow it. No.
And you're encouraged to use the Mork Borg logo. You're also not allowed to give the impression that this is an official
No, you're not allowed to
Mork
use the
product.
Mork Borg logo. You have to say it's compatible with.
Yeah. And then legal, which is that Occult or Master Games, Stockholm Cartel, the Free League Publishing, takes no responsibility for any legal claims against your product.
The Stockholm
legal
Cartel.
disputes-
What, are we about to get our legs broken by some Vikings or something?
Any legal disputes, controversies, or claims related to this license shall be governed and construed in accordance with the laws of Sweden and be settled in a Swedish court.
Have fun with long arm laws.
The following text must be included in the legal text somewhere visible in the publication, on the website, or storefront where you promote the product. This copyright text must be legibly included somewhere in the product and on the storefront.
I don't know about that, given your book had quite a few sections where it was pretty hard to read, my guy.
Can I make Mork Borg NFTs? No, absolutely not.
Why? You use public domain assets.
With a link to Wikipedia for that NFT, and then remember, make it dark, depressing, weird, and cruel, but let everyone partake in the suffering. Be sure to avoid sexist, racist, homophobic, and transphobic tropes and themes of your content.
But it's okay. It's okay to shit on religion. It's okay to shit on religion.
Guys, Scarbrand, the mass murder child murderer, it's a very bad man, but he would never, ever, ever say faggot.
Scarbrand, hate transphobes. Scarbrand, respect your identity as Scarbrand kills you.
Yeah, it's listed further up, but if you Control F, content restrictions, I'll just go ahead and read this because it's funny. We welcome any and all content, but we especially enjoy it brief, concise, clever, dark, and weird.
Basically,
we like random tables.
They're encouraging you to make more crap for their grift.
We like monsters, dungeons, and scenarios, strange powers, and GM tools. We prefer a user-friendly toolbox approach before a long prose read. We'd rather see lots of short bullet lists than one long text.
We'd rather you slap together garbage and sell it for a high price so that we all get a bit of that splenduli.
We want it dark, depressing, cruel, but we will never accept racism, sexism, homophobic, or transphobic content. Where this line is drawn up is it is up to this case.
So you want a dark and depressing world, but you don't want some of the darkest aspects of society in the end of the world.
I could see this just focusing more on the core themes of just being an apocalypse. This kind of identity stuff at this point in the end of the world doesn't matter.
It doesn't, but think about it like this. When you're dealing with the apocalypse and you're dealing with faith, there's always going to be those who wonder, why is this happening? And who is at fault?
Say a bunch of racist shit to a nihilist and see him get riled up. That'll make him not nihilist.
Yeah, I could say that, but I think in that case you grab it into the world that's set up, not you somehow just bring real world stuff into it. But rules as written, technically, yes, you cannot have, or not you cannot, but they, no, you can't. You cannot have racist, sexist, homophobic, or transphobic content in it. Things
Fucking watch me, bitch.
You're, I guess, selling as third party. The
Which
one thing
I
sure
think
hope
is
these
interesting, because this is supposed to be because they're using a lot of anarchist aspects, and then they're telling me what to do.
I don't think they're
That's what I
anarchists.
was
They're
about
just
to.
punks.
That's what I was about to say. It's just
So
like
you're
I can
punks,
imagine like
and you try to defy society, but then you repeat the basic corporate safety. Oh, please allow us to make buku bucks off of you, capitalist garbo.
I'm just imagining like making like fucking like I don't know like making like the tranny genocide compatible with Mork Borg. We got to respect how they want that to be portrayed.
No.
And just like these fucking like
I want to make a very valid and wholesome translation of Lisa the Painful, where all the women are gone, and you have to take up the role. Because that's also an apocalypse setting.
what I'm trying to say is I'd like to see these fucking anarchists get so pissed off they use lawfare in order to destroy us.
Well, they would. They said any claims are going to be tried in the court of Sweden.
Oh no!
So the
But
punks
I will say this.
run away to Sweden. Arrest them! Arrest them! They say.
I will say this with the website, they have a lot of useful stuff. They have a lot of like character sheets, rules references, the bare bones edition of Mork Borg without the cover image, or no art except the cover image and just the text. They have the official character generator, Scov Birther, and Dinge, Dingen, which is the official Mork Borg dungeon generator.
That's just Donjon! They just probably copied it and just
a
said,
monster
fuck
generator.
You. Donjon has that too! Oh, these fucking scumbags! Yeah, I'm rating this True Namer. It's not a game. As far as I'm concerned, it's not a game. It expects you to use basic to cover for what it fucking lacks. Fuck this.
Wait, Adam, you're not interested in my Mork Borg game I'm running?
No. Run Chalt
it's
instead.
now a good or bad.
Run Chalt instead.
Now a good or bad time. Now a good or bad time to mention I may have backed some certain cyborg projects actually that involve giant robots.
That was probably a mistake because they're part of the grift.
I would tell you what, Adam.
I would not say this is True Namer. I would.
It's not a game. I don't think it's a game. I don't think it counts as a game. It's a dungeon that they then pretended was a game. Chalt gives you Crimson Dragon Slayer, which is not much of a game. It barely works, but it technically counts. This doesn't even have that.
But no, there are some mechanics in this game.
Well, by
there
this
is
logic,
combat.
By this logic, just having a basic table, like a random generative table, would make it a game. I can't.
Well, it has that, but it did have rules for combat. It did have rules for creating characters.
It's disjointed. It gives no examples. And it is a mess to fucking read.
Which is again pretty much the same thing along the lines of Powered by the Apocalypse.
No, I rate it lower than Powered by the Apocalypse. We've read good Powered by the Apocalypse, and it's worse than the bad ones. I would rather play Thirsty Sword Lesbians than this. I would rather play Chalt than this.
But yeah, no, the problem I've seen with Mork Borg is that it has brought up a lot of people using this to have what I would just say is just like weird splotches of
all
ink
of its material is taken from basic. This isn't a game. This is an asset flip scam. As far as I'm concerned.
Because what, there's Mork Borg, there's Cyborg, there's Pirate Borg.
There's an infinite legion, Adam. You're never going to win, unfortunately.
Oh, I don't know about that. I think the tariff scare crashing their fucking economy did a pretty good job, since a lot of them were forced to stop printing.
I'll have to
Especially
see you in
since
the
these
Discord
books
channel
cost a lot of money because of all that black paging. I don't know.
So what you're saying is
you're
actually glad for the tariffs. You're glad for the tariffs, is what you're saying. You want small business to go down. You want this queer collective in order to fail, is what you're saying.
What I'm trying to say is that the millionaire sobs as they strike out at you.
So Squirrel Killer did say it can't be True Namer because Basic is a game and it's just stripped down Basic.
Yeah, but that's not the game. It's basically Basic. They took Basic. They didn't even really do anything with it. And then they just slapped on it. I don't think it quite counts as a game because they barely give you anything.
In
I
order
don't
to
know.
bat in your corner here, Adam. I'll basically say it's like getting angry at Sonichu. Just saying like, yeah, Sonic and Pikachu are real things. They can't be an abomination. But the main problem is the fact that they fucking mix this shit together when it never should have been.
No, I think the problem is they're elevating themselves way above what they actually are. They're calling themselves these true trailblazers because they managed to win an industry award that they probably tantrumed and begged for. That was probably like they did this, and now they're wandering around bragging like, haha, this industry award means we're really good, even though we managed to just get it because we showed how easy it is to crank out product and get people to pay for it. I don't know.
Like me.
I have to rate this at least garbage, man. I just think this is not worth anything. There's nothing of value here. The art isn't even that good.
In
fact,
an era of
I think I was gonna say, I think instead of this game, if you can, just buy Doom: The Dark Ages. It's all your violence and death and destruction that you need, but it's also a Doom game.
So I have actually
it,
linked. I've linked to Mork Borg for those of you willing to give it a go because hey, maybe you thought the spreads looked interesting. I have linked to the website in the description, but I have also rated Chalt above it, and I actually have a link to Chalt. You can get a copy of Chalt, same atmosphere, same tone. You get more dungeons out of it. I don't like it, but it's still more bang for your
it
buck in my opinion. And
in an industry filled with eye hunts, stigmatas, and whatever gay shit thirsty sword lesbians is. I didn't feel mad playing this, and I think that's kind of the grading I'm kind of working at right now. I mean, if somebody forced me to play this against my will, I mean, I want to get angry, you know. I mean, it's something. I think it really is just a testament to how good your GM is and just how much time you have, really.
yeah,
So
you
I'm just
gotta
gonna give
have
it
the
a map.
GM fucking do everything because this book doesn't have anything. Your GM is gonna have to pull out the basic fucking edition of D&D and actually just use that because this thing doesn't have enough for it. That's my other reason I hate this. It's basically, hey GM, just fix our garbage for us because we couldn't be fucked. We couldn't be fucked to do anything. That's kind of my problem with it. I want to name it True Namer because I just don't think it's really a game. It's an art asset book. And a lot of that's not even theirs. It's just like fucking basic PNG of heart put on black background and then run through a brief GIMP filter. I just I don't know. It's at minimum trash. I really hate this one a lot. I hated it after I did through my first skim, and I fucking hated it even more when I saw the 90-degree angle text shit they did in the middle of sentences. That fucking pissed me off more than anything else.
Well, Adam, I'll tell you what, buddy. I'll make it up for you. I'll come on the stream when I got it all set up and I get the PDFs ready for us. We'll take a gander of the products that I backed for Cyborg, which is a mecha game for this system. I'm not an idiot. I know what I'm doing.
I don't think this is a system. I think this is just D&D basic that they somehow managed to pretend isn't.
Don't worry, Adam. Once I finally show you the products that I backed, you'll at least find in your heart to Elisa Meyer the dedication that these fans put into making these little splats for us.
I don't think they're fans. I think they're people that just went, oh god, I can really slap together some bullshit and make some splenduli out of it. I don't even think it's that. I think this is just as cynical, actually more so than Powered by the Apocalypse, because that one at least forces you to try to fucking do some incorporation. I'm sorry, I don't really like Mork Borg. I didn't originally when I realized how empty it was, and I hated it even more after reading it.
Everyone in chat, press 1 if you think Adam is being over hyper dramatic and you would want to give this system a shot. Press 2 if you agree with him.
I will again.
I will merely state that I have also linked as the third option, because I've linked a third RPG, Blades in the Dark, which I think actually handles this sort of scenario even better. Because it's a post-apocalyptic setting as well. Everything's gone to shit. The sun's basically gone. and it's still more coherent, and it allows you to run actual games.
Well, I do think besides all of that,
You got some people
again,
agreeing with you, Biggs.
Yeah.
A couple agreeing with me. Seems at least a little bit split.
Some asshole named Imcrit just put 666 because he's so clever.
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna
When
strangle
you have
that
two
bastard.
options, the punk way is to have the third option. So if you want to actually dunk on both of us, have an option instead of 1 and 2. It could be 666, it could be 911, it could be any number. That's the true punk way. Ignore the binary.
All right, so Adam has fought against the Swedish anarchist, the Swedish queer anarchist group.
I mean, it's not the
And he
first
is
time
not
I've thrown
impressed.
down with anarchists. Remember Eclipse Phase? Although,
No.
admittedly, I liked that book a lot. That one actually was pretty good.
I remember Fuck World.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah, that was when I had everything hotkeyed wrong. That was amazing. Now that was a trash fire.
but I do think our exploration of the darkness of Mork Borg is done for the evening.
It's effectively over.
Yeah, for next week, the latest Vampire the Masquerade V5 book, In Memoriam. You want to play as the Ancilla?
Oh, we're going to cover that?
I mean, hell, why not?
I mean, here's my thing. I was thinking because we're covering a bunch of post-apocalyptic settings, and we covered Blades in the Dark and this piece of crap, why not cover the thing that's responsible for Powered by the Apocalypse, Apocalypse World?
Ah,
That's what I was thinking.
that could be fitting.
Tell you what, I have an idea. I'm going to actually, before going to bed, I'm going to set a poll on the YouTube channel on which one should we look at, the Vampire Ancilla book that just came out, or Apocalypse World. Winner by Saturday night or so will be what we cover. Not Saturday night, Sunday night next week. Give you guys a little bit of something.
And so remember all.
I just realized I don't think you actually gave your rating for this book, Imsit.
I guess disaster.
I mean, if you think it's playable, you can. I mean, that's
I
fine.
definitely think it's playable.
I personally just hate it enough that I consider it trash. Like, I find it offensive from a design point of view, from a GM point of view, from an everything point of view.
You don't have to say it's not true neighbor just because of me, Adam. Please, I want to hear your actual opinion. Disregard if you say I'm a fucking mongoloid and you don't care about my opinion. Will you give it true neighbor, just not for my sake?
I unfortunately don't think I can because it's not like Racial Holy War where they don't even have mechanics, sadly. I want to because it's an art book disguised as a game, but there's enough there that I can't rate it that. I can rate it terrible, though. I'll just keep it at trash. I just don't think it's good. I don't think it's good for the industry. I don't think it's really good as a system because it's, well, actually, I like basic. I don't like this.
What's basic again? I'm very stupid.
The simplified Dungeons and Dragons that this thing stole the mechanics of. It's the same. Remember how angry I got when I realized how Candela Obscura did the same thing with Blades in the Dark? That's probably part of why I'm so mad at Mork Borg. New ranking reprint. Yeah. I'll rate it R for reprint this. Or P or F for fuck the publishing house. Not for them printing it, but suffer publishing house. Suffer. Burn all your ink on this.
Adam. Just you wait, Adam. When you see the art for the mech game that they gave me, you're gonna blow your mind because you're gonna say, "Wow, this is a cool cyberpunk mecha thing." You're gonna love it.
Will it be full of doom and darkness and unending dread?
I mean, if it's based on Gundam, it's going to, because remember, this is the series that had everyone die as one of its anime.
I would say it's more like Ghost in the Shell meets Pat Labor with more depression.
Fuck it. You can show it to me off scene, and I'll see if I like it or not. I just intrinsically hate Mork Borg as it is. Anyway, night,
found
y'all.
this new
I gotta set
trigger,
up
y'all.
that poll.
Good night, and welcome in the doom.
Dang, Loom.
Oh no, I rolled the apocalypse. It's over.